how to make clump foliage. The whole process takes about 20 minutes, and then the dry time varies depending on how you lay it out and what state you live in. For me in Arizona, it's hot, so it dries probably within a couple of hours. So what we're going to do is step one, I'm going to show you all the products you're going to need, and then I'll go into different steps of how to actually accomplish the colors of the clump foliage. So you're going to need a cheap store-bought blender. This one I bought, it's probably about $10. And that way you don't want to use it after you've used it on the paint, because it's you don't want to put food in it. Next, you're going to need choices of colors. Now, I went to the different stores to look at the acrylics, which these are, and I found out that picking up a couple of paint chips and identify the color that matches closely to what I want to match. And greens of any choices is not a problem. It's whatever you decide to have on your layout. I know that Woodland Scenics tends to have about 4 colors, but you can go in and mix a variety of colors. These are just sample jars. They're $3.95. Those will last me for longer than I'll ever use to make all my material. Next, you'll need a PVA glue, which I looked up, and it basically comes out to Elmer's school glue. So that's to help clump it together once you're all done, so that you can rip it apart and put it in big clumps on your layout. You're going to need a cup of water, or 2 cups of water. I have a 1/2 cup measuring cup. I start with a 1/2 cup, and then I start adding water as I need to. A stick to help control the material inside, so that you can get it down into the blades, because sometimes it tends to stop and not get into the blades to feed. Pair of scissors, a utility knife, a straight edge, and I have some paper towels just to wipe my hands off in between the process. Okay, and then you'll need a material. This is foam rubber. It's a pack of 4. Comes this size. Looks like this when it's out of the bag. It's roughly 1 inch by 18 by 18, I believe. I bought this at a Wally World. I'll let you fill in the blanks what that is. But it's $6, and I got 4 of these in there. So I will make more than I could ever use on my train layout. Next, you'll need to make sure you pick up some of these buckets. I picked these up again at Wally World. On 2 of them, I leave them alone. On 1 of them, I drilled a bunch of cheese grater holes in the bottom. That's later so that I can wring out the paint and press it by putting this on top, putting this one in there, and press it till it squeezes out all the material. Then I'll let it sit and dry in just its own material, own bucket, and then I'll start another batch. The product that will, once you're finished, will end up like this right here. So see, you got your clumping, and this is a good green. This is a forest green, and you can see as it tears apart, it's got a good bond, just not enough to make it hard to tear it apart. That way it'll hold it together while you go and glue it on certain sections that you allow it to get the clusters of trees in the mountains. I have 2 other colors that I experimented with. This is more of a medium green, and this is kind of an olive drab green, as you can see. Both of which I like the colors, because it's kind of a this is more of kind of like faded out, maybe oak trees, and this is more kind of like your cluster bushes. Blend them together, they look like bushes that have some dead growth growing in them. We're at step 2. We're in the preparation stage. Okay, we've got all of our materials laid out. So what I like to do is I go ahead and take a bowl of water, as you see here, and I take your flat material, and all you want to do is take and score lines with a sharp X-Acto knife. About every 3/4 of an inch is good enough. And then I just come back and I spread it apart, and I just let the knife go all the way through on a cutting mat board. Okay? Once you get those cut out, you're going to take them 2 at a time, and you're going to cut them into little cube squares. Just like this. Doesn't matter how they look, you're not going to see this after they're blended together. And what I like to do, even though I'm going to put water in the blender, I like to take and stick these into a bowl of water. The water helps weight down the cubes so that they'll fall to the bottom when you're going and doing the blending. It also helps absorb the paint into the cells of the foam rubber. So what we're going to do next is, now that I've done that, we're going to take our blender. I'm going to add a half a cup of water to start. And again, since I soaked these, I'll just grab these out and I'll put them in there. A couple of handfuls. Don't want to put too many because it'll get too hard to push it down to the blades. This will yield about a bag, a little less than a bag of this. Now the first step, we're going to just go ahead and we're going to run the blender, and we're going to try to get all this broken up down into small chunks.